No, it will not be okay. And no, you will not manage. This is the state of mind I recommend you be in during this time in August when the routine is basically that there is no routine. On these days when things are messy, you're going to the pool, you're going on a trip, your kids are on vacation, you're going to the zoo, you're going abroad on a vacation, you're going to a hotel. All these things, basically, what it does is for people, especially who find it hard to eat healthy, who are more tempted by junk foods, right? By sugary, starchy, hyper processed foods, then you cannot assume it'll be okay and you'll manage to find something healthy to eat. This will not happen. Our environment is an obesogenic environment. It is an environment that is against healthy eating, that promotes obesity, diabetes, fatty liver, and all the host of other metabolic diseases that our population of the world is suffering from them at epidemic levels that put COVID to shame. So you cannot assume that it's going to be okay and you'll manage and you'll find something to eat. That salad just may not be there. And when you stop at a gas station, it might be, and you're starving because you didn't bring anything to eat with you. It might be that the only thing to buy there is like some roasted nuts, which are super addictive, or chocolate. So instead of, and then what happens? I know because I've been there many, many times. What happened was I didn't feel like making something, like preparing something to eat at home. And I just we went off and it was going to be okay. I'll manage. I'll find something. And of course I didn't manage. I didn't find anything. The only things that were available was junk food, but I was hungry and I had to eat something. So then I would eat. And then what happens? Oh, I broke my diet. Oh, if I broke my diet already today, okay. So then I would start eating chips and ice cream and chocolate and all this stuff and not paying attention in any way to how I was eating. Tomorrow, I will take myself in hand and get back on track. That never happened, because what happens is when we eat all these junk foods that are so addictive, especially people who are more sensitive to the addictive nature of these foods, it does not, it doesn't make you feel less deprived. It makes you crave more exactly those foods. So then like my diet went kablooey. I totally lost control, ate whatever I felt like eating. But what happened was the more I ate, the more I felt like eating these things. And then the next day, it was pretty much impossible to get back on track because my brain was like lit up like a Christmas tree, right? Just wanting more and more and more of these foods that act on my brain like a drug. So today, because I choose to really abstain from the foods that act on my brain like a drug, but I say anybody, really, whether you feel like you're addicted to sugar or you're not addicted, and even if you are just somebody who healthy eating is important to them, but especially if you are somebody who find it hard to control yourself in these situations, or if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic, and that you have to be very, very careful about not eating too much sweet or, these like crappy carbs, what I call, that raise your blood sugar levels and raise insulin, and that you have to be careful, then you do not have the luxury of assuming it's going to be okay and you'll manage, because our environment today is such that it is built not to manage. It is everything is pulling us in the direction of buying and eating these super junky, cheap, available, and super stimulating foods and super tempting foods. So my biggest tip to you is, on these days when you're not in your natural environment, these are the days when you're not at home, you're not in your regular routine, take food with you. Buy and take with you healthy options to eat. If it's an apple or a bag of natural nuts or a can of tuna or whatever it is. Take with you. Yes, do that. Just invest that 10 minutes or 15 minutes that it takes to prepare some food. Now, if you do this not just for yourself, but you take enough for the people who are also coming with you, if you're not by yourself, your kids, your family, your friends, whatever it is, well, then you've done them a huge service as well, because there's a psychological principle that says what there is what, what you see is what there is. And if people see you opening up a container of vegetables and they see that there's a lot of them, they'll eat the vegetables. And then when you stop at the gas station, nobody's starving. And even if they do, even if people do choose to eat, let's say a treat, or, well, I don't call them treats. I don't think they're treats. I think they're just like, it's like the same way as saying like a cigarette is a treat, but maybe some people do find them a treat and want to like treat themselves and have something. It's still like they'll eat less and they'll be less tempted. Instead of buying the chocolate bar and the chips, maybe they'll buy or maybe they'll eat just a half a chocolate bar, or maybe they'll really be able to just have those two, those two pieces of chocolate. I could never do that, but some people can. But if you're starving, the chances that it's going to end with two pieces of chocolate, even if you're somebody who usually doesn't overeat on these things, that's not going to happen. So basically, this is part of breaking the diet mentality, right? And part of breaking the diet mentality is just being realistic about the environment that we live in, because the environment, we underestimate the power that our environment has over our food choices. So make sure, do not assume it's going to be okay. Do not count on the food industry making sure you have healthy food choices wherever you go. Take with you emergency rations. And I always say, worst comes to worst, the food that I took with me, I did manage, and it really was okay. And I found wonderful things to eat. And in the end, I threw whatever it was that I took, that emergency ration. Let's say worst case scenario, I threw it in the garbage, but I did not eat junk, and I did not and my body did not get garbage. And that is my tip to you. Take with you food when you're traveling, when you're outside the home, when you're outside your natural environment. Do not assume it's going to be okay. So that's my live for this week. Don't forget to look at the really cool offers that I have in all the links and comments below. And I really hope you have a wonderful August. Keep cool and keep safe. Keep food safe as well. Have a wonderful day, a beautiful week, and I will see you next week on Sippy.